Welcome to Wealth Hustle 247 podcast, your trusted guide to financial literacy, business innovation, and entrepreneurial success. Learn how to grow your wealth, make informed decisions, and turn your ideas into profitable ventures.
Welcome to today's episode. We're uncovering 15 secrets only billionaires know. From unique strategies to insider mindsets, these are the little-known principles that help the ultra-wealthy stay ahead. Get ready to learn the tips and tricks that could change the way you think about success and wealth.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time for a deep dive into the world of billionaires.
That's right. We're going to be looking at the video 15 Secrets Only Billionaires Know.
From LX.com, right?
Yeah. Have you seen this one?
I have. And, obviously we can't guarantee that these are secrets that only billionaires know.
Right.
But I think it's an interesting way to kind of get into the mindset of, how these folks think and what they do.
Absolutely. And I always think it's fascinating to kind of get inside the minds of any group of people, particularly one that has such an impact on, the world.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dig into this one.
Yeah, me too. So to kick things off, this video kind of dropped a truth bomb on me. It said that most billionaires don't actually own a majority of their companies. I don't know why, but I always thought Jeff Bezos has got like a Scrooge McDuck vault, all of Amazon stock.
Yeah, swimming pool full of stock certificates.
Exactly. And it turns out that's not really how it works.
Yeah.
Not really. And I mean, it's not just Bezos, right? We're talking Elon Musk,
Right.
Bernard Arnault. Like the list goes on and on.
Yeah. So why is that?
Well, this is where we get into this idea of leverage.
Okay. So not like lifting weights to get rich.
No, not that kind of leverage.
Okay.
Although I'm sure some billionaires hit the gym.
Probably.
But this is a different kind of leverage. So think about it this way. Would you rather own 100% of a lemonade stand
Okay.
or 10% of a billion-dollar beverage company?
Okay. Point taken.
Right. So it's about owning a smaller piece of something much larger.
Okay, so how do you go from owning the lemonade stand to owning 10% of Coca-Cola?
Right. So let's say you have that lemonade stand and you've got a killer recipe.
Okay.
Everyone on the block is like, this is amazing. You could keep selling it yourself, right? But what if you got a few friends to invest and then a few more friends and then eventually you've got a whole boardroom of people who are helping you scale up that lemonade stand?
And their money, combined with your initial idea, helps you grow way faster than you ever could on your own.
So it's about taking the initial idea and then using other people's resources to kind of blow it up.
Exactly. And you might own a smaller percentage, but that piece is now worth way more.
So I'd rather have a smaller slice of a giant pizza than the whole tiny pizza to myself.
I think that's a great analogy. And, billionaires, they understand that giant pizza.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be diving into more of these billionaire secrets. So stick around.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we're back and we're talking billionaire secrets. And this video really threw me for a loop with this one. They were talking about art as an investment.
Art?
Yeah, like fine art.
Okay.
I always thought of it as kind of like a passion purchase.
Right.
Something that like super rich people buy because they've got nothing else to spend their money on.
Yeah, I'll take 10 Picassos and a Warhol.
Right, exactly. But the video is saying that it's actually a strategy that billionaires use to like protect and grow their wealth.
Well, it's interesting because, it makes sense. Like, if you think about it, art has been a store of value for centuries. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, if you go back hundreds of years, people were like, I'm going to put my money in this tapestry or, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And so it's not a new concept. But I think what's interesting is that it's still relevant today.
Yeah. They said something about blue chip art like outperforming the S&P 500.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. There's only one Mona Lisa.
Right.
So the scarcity of these pieces,
right,
combined with, the cultural significance, these things become incredibly valuable.
Right. So it's like supply and demand on a whole other level.
Exactly. And, one thing about art is that it's portable.
That's true.
You can't exactly just stuff a skyscraper in your pocket.
Right.
If things go south.
Yeah. So it's like a secret weapon in your portfolio. Okay. So speaking of portfolios, this video was not as gung-ho about stocks as I thought they would be.
Interesting.
Like they didn't say don't invest in the stock market, but they were saying that, relying solely on stocks to become a billionaire is maybe not the best strategy.
Yeah. It makes sense, right? Because if you think about most billionaires, they're not just like passive investors.
Right.
Like they're not just putting their money in index funds and hoping for the best.
Right.
They're out there building companies. They're acquiring assets.
Yeah.
They're using their network to spot opportunities before everyone else.
Yeah. They actually brought up Peter Thiel's early investment in Facebook as an example.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Right. I mean, 500,000 turned into billions.
It's crazy.
It's insane. I mean, it's like the lottery ticket, except it wasn't luck. It was like recognizing potential and taking a chance on it.
Yeah, so it's not just about picking stocks. It's about picking the right companies, the right ideas.
Absolutely. And having the network to even know about those opportunities in the first place.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing that they talked about that I thought was interesting was this idea of liquidity,
Okay.
which I don't know why, but I'd never really thought about it before. But like when I picture a billionaire in my mind,
Right.
it's like Scrooge McDuck swimming in a pool of gold coins.
Right. Exactly. But the reality is that most of their wealth is actually tied up in assets, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about it, like companies, real estate,
Right.
all that stuff.
It's not like they can just like snap their fingers and have $1 billion in cash.
No, it's not liquid like that.
Right.
Like they might have access to a lot of credit, but their actual, cash flow is a different story.
Right. Right. So like just because they're a billionaire on paper
Yeah.
doesn't mean they've got $1 billion to just throw around.
Right. Think of it like owning a house, right?
Okay.
Like you own a house, it's an asset, it's valuable, but you can't just like turn around and have that value in your hand immediately. Right. You got to sell the house.
Yeah,
You got to find a buyer,
Yeah, exactly.
which takes time.
It does.
Okay, so that makes sense. And they actually said that billionaires aren't afraid of debt.
Oh, yeah.
They actually called it good debt,
Good debt.
which I was like, what is good debt?
Right.
How can debt be good?
Do you remember that lemonade stand we were talking about?
Yes.
Sometimes you need to take on a little bit of debt to buy that bigger juicer, to get to that next level.
Right.
And so billionaires, they do the same thing, but on a much larger scale, obviously.
Right.
So they're using debt strategically to acquire more assets to amplify their wealth.
So it's like they're playing chess
Exactly.
and everyone else is playing checkers.
They're thinking several moves ahead.
Okay, so this one kind of blew my mind. They said that billionaires see recessions as a good thing.
All right, so I don't think they're like rooting for a recession,
Right.
but I think they approach them differently. So you know how most people, when a recession hits, they're like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. We got to sell everything.
So.
Right. Billionaires,
Uh-huh.
they see it as an opportunity.
They do.
They see it as a chance to buy.
To buy low.
Exactly, because everyone else is freaking out.
Right.
And they're like, all right, everything's on sale.
They've got their shopping list ready.
Exactly.
Okay, and this is where like Warren Buffett comes in, right? He's famous for saying, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful.
There you go. I mean, that's it right there.
Yeah, so it's about having that long-term perspective.
Absolutely. And having the guts to make moves when everyone else is hesitant.
So being prepared,
Yeah,
being ready to act when everyone else is hitting the panic button.
exactly. And having, the resources to do so.
Right.
Because, it's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, everything's on sale.
Yeah.
If you don't have any money to spend,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to take advantage of those deals.
Right. Right, exactly. Okay, so we've talked about, the mindset, the strategies, but what about like the actual like day-to-day stuff? Like the video also talked about the importance of having the right people in your corner.
Oh, yeah. This is huge.
Even billionaires need a good coach, right?
Absolutely. I mean, imagine trying to win the Olympics without a coach, without a trainer.
Right.
You need people who can help you be the best version of yourself.
Right.
And that's true whether you're an athlete or a CEO or just, trying to navigate life in general.
They even mentioned executive coaches, like people whose job it is to coach CEOs
Yeah.
to help them stay focused to make those high-stakes decisions.
It's like having a personal Yoda for your career.
I love that. Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is that even if we don't all become billionaires,
Right.
we can still learn a lot
Absolutely.
from how these ultra-successful people think and operate.
100%. And you know what I love about this kind of stuff is that it's not just about business, it's about life.
It's about setting goals. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people. It's about having that long-term vision.
Absolutely. So we've got to take another quick break, but when we come back, we're going to wrap things up with some final thoughts on what we can all learn from this billionaire mindset. So don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back. And, it's interesting because we talk about all these big strategies, these big ideas.
Right.
But the video also highlighted a couple of almost like skills, I guess, that I thought were really interesting and that I think are relevant.
Sure.
Whether you're running a Fortune 500 company or just trying to live your best life.
Yeah, for sure.
And the first one was decision making.
Okay.
We called it a billionaire tier skill.
Interesting.
And I thought that was fascinating. Like, what makes their decision making so different?
Right.
And they talked about how these are people who are making decisions, obviously, with huge consequences,
Right.
with limited information and often under pressure.
Yeah, you got to think on your feet. Exactly. And so they said it's like taking your mind to the gym. You got to constantly be challenging yourself to learn to adapt, to get better at making those tough calls.
So what's their advice?
Yeah.
How do we take our decision making to the billionaire level?
Well, they talked a lot about expanding your knowledge base.
Yeah.
Like the more you know, the more informed your decisions will be.
That makes sense.
So read everything you can get your hands on. Listen to podcasts.
Wake.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Right.
Get out there and learn as much as you can.
So it's like building a mental toolbox,
Yeah.
right? The more tools you have, the better equipped you'll be to handle whatever comes your way.
I like that a lot. Okay, so the other skill, and this one I thought was really interesting too, was persuasion,
Okay.
which makes sense when you think about it, right? If you're trying to build something massive, you need other people to buy into your vision.
Absolutely. You got to get people on board.
Yeah. And they said it's not about being a slick salesperson. It's not about like tricking people into doing what you want.
Right.
It's about building genuine relationships.
Okay.
It's about communicating clearly.
Sure.
And it's about getting people excited about your mission.
Yeah, it's like that friend we all have who could convince you to try any restaurant.
Right.
It's not that they're twisting your arm.
Right.
It's just that they're so enthusiastic about it that you're like, all right, I'm in.
And you trust their judgment.
Exactly.
So it's about building that trust.
There you go.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about everything from leverage to calculated risks to good debt to the art of persuasion.
To billionaire decision making.
That's a lot.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
But I think if there's one thing that I want people to take away from this,
Yeah.
is that these billionaire secrets aren't really secrets at all.
Like these are principles. These are strategies.
Yeah.
These are ways of thinking that we can all, learn from and apply in our own lives.
Absolutely. And I think, instead of chasing billions, maybe it's about asking ourselves, what does wealth truly mean to me?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right? Is it financial freedom?
Yeah.
Is it more time with family? Is it making a difference in the world?
Having a positive impact.
Exactly. And once you define what that means to you, then you can start applying some of these principles to build the life that you want.
On your own terms.
There you go.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the minds of billionaires, I'm curious what resonated with you the most.
Yeah. What surprised you?
What are you going to do differently?
Let us know in the comments.
Hit us up.
We want to hear from you.
And until next time, remember, it's not always about how much money you make
It's about the impact you create.
and the legacy you leave behind.
Boom. There you go.
That's $1 billion thought right there.
Mic drop.
Thanks for diving deep with us, everybody.
That's it for today's episode of Wealth Hustle 247. Be sure to follow, like, comment, and share with others. Keep pushing toward your goals, and we'll see you in the next episode.